Today, we're going to be talking about obesity and its relation to the Mediterranean diet. Could the Mediterranean diet be the answer to the obesity epidemic? My name is Patrick.
My name's Rachel.
My name is Trayson.
And my name's Nicole. Okay, so in this presentation, I will be going over the problem of obesity in an introduction into the solution. And then Rachel and Patrick will go into some of the research on that solution. And then Trayson will take it home with an overall summary and then implications for some future research. So obesity is obviously an epidemic we are facing today, and unfortunately, it is only projected to get worse. By 2030, nearly 1 in 2 Americans will suffer from obesity, and in addition to that, nearly 1 in 4 Americans will suffer from severe obesity. Right here, I have included a graph of the trends in obesity and severe obesity from 1999 to 2018. And as you can see, obesity has increased 12% over the course of only 19 years. And severe obesity has risen 4%. So this just shows how fast we are becoming obese in America right now. Why should we care? Mainly obesity impacts all the body systems from reproductive to respiratory function to memory and mood. It is also associated with health problems such as diabetes, heart disease, and even some cancers. These diseases come from the mechanical stress of carrying extra pounds, in addition to hormonal and metabolic issues related to obesity. Obesity also decreases the quality and length of a person's life, and obesity increases the individual national and global healthcare costs. In fact, obesity costs the US healthcare system nearly $173 billion each year. But luckily, obesity isn't a permanent condition. We have interventions such as physical activity, diet, and surgery that can reduce obesity rates. All right, now moving into our solution, which is the Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is a diet that is mainly focused on plant-based foods such as whole grains, vegetables, legumes, fruits, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. The olive oil is the main source of added fat in this diet. It also includes fish, seafood, dairy, and poultry in moderation, though, and red meat and sweets are eaten only occasionally. So interest in the Mediterranean diet began in the 1950s when it was noted that heart disease was not as common in Mediterranean countries as it was in the US. And since then, numerous studies have confirmed that the Mediterranean diet has helped prevent heart disease and stroke. The great thing about the Mediterranean diet is there's no strict rules and it doesn't restrict any food groups. But overall, it's very important to limit added sugar, refined grains, trans fats such as margarine and fried foods, refined oils, which are soybean oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil, grapeseed oil, processed meats, and just overall highly processed foods such as fast food, convenience meals, microwave popcorn, granola bars, that type of thing.
All right, so today I'm going to be discussing the MedWeight study, which explores the relationship between the Mediterranean diet and weight maintenance. Sample size took 565 adults who were 62% women, aged 18 to 65, and they had to have lost greater than 10% of their weight a year ago prior to the study, and they had to have started with a BMI of greater than 25. Basically, this study is a cross-sectional study observing the differences between diet patterns and chances of being a weight gainer or weight maintainer. And how they figured that out was through through what's called a med diet score. So first they looked at whether you're a weight maintainer or a weight gainer. A weight maintainer is someone who was able to stick with that greater than 10% loss over the course of a year. Weight regainers are someone who gained 5% or more of that weight back. Anything in between the 5 to 10% range, they excluded from the study. And Mediterranean diet adherence was assessed by, like I said, the med diet score, which is a score from 0 to 55 based on responses on the 2 non-consecutive 24-hour dietary recalls. These were taken less than 10 days apart, one on a weekday, one on a weekend day. The 11 foods that were scored include non-refined cereals, fruits, vegetables, legumes, potatoes, fish, olive oil, and all those are all very sought after foods in the Mediterranean diet. They're highly eaten in that diet. And so if you ate a lot of those based on your recall, then you probably get a score closer. Each individual food was scored from 0 to 5. So you'd probably get a score closer to 5 if you ate a lot of olive oil, whereas you'd get a score closer to 0 if you didn't. And then oppositely, the foods that aren't really eaten in the Mediterranean diet as much, like meat, poultry, and full fat dairy products, if you ate a lot of those, you wouldn't get a 5, you'd now get like a 0. And so a scale from 0 to 55 shows your adherence. And then they did a multi-adjusted logistics regression model to calculate any relationship. And they did find a relationship. If you were in the 3rd or 4th quartile, meaning for adherence, meaning you adhered well to the Mediterranean diet, there is a significant chance that you would be a weight maintainer and not a regainer. And that's shown as the p-value you can see is 0.006 for both the adjusted and fully adjusted data. The adjusted data means they adjusted for age, sex, marital status, and education. And the fully adjusted was all those 4 plus energy intake and physical activity. So as you can see, even after adjusting for energy intake and physical activity, it was still the same p-value, which I believe shows that there is a strong correlation between the Mediterranean diet and weight maintenance. Some of our strengths of the study is that it's the largest European weight control registry as far as the data, 565 individuals participating. Also, dietary intake was taken through the gold standard 24-hour recall, and obviously it's not perfect, but that is considered a strength when it comes to weight studies, because that is the gold standard. And then weaknesses, it's a cross-sectional study. Obviously, to conduct a study like this, it would be practically impossible to do a clinical study, but we do have to consider that cross-sectional studies are going to have confounding variables. They did adjust for 6 things, but we all know that weight maintenance is much more complicated than just, adhering to one diet, potentially. And then also the findings can only be generalized to people in Greece because that's where the participants were from. The relevance is that obesity is a major problem financially and in the health world in the United States. And so if we could find a diet that would benefit our society, that would obviously be ideal. And so that's why this study is relevant. And I think for future research, there should be future research regarding the Mediterranean diet in an American society and with American participants. And in conclusion, we obviously can't infer causality, but there was a relationship between higher adherence to the Mediterranean diet and weight maintenance, and it was a 2-fold increase likelihood of weight maintenance if you adhered to the Mediterranean diet, if you were in that 3rd or 4th quartile of adherence. Thank you.
So the next article that we are going to talk about today is titled "A Mediterranean Style Diet Plan is Associated with Greater Effectiveness and Sustainability in Weight Loss in Patients with Obesity After Endoscopic Bariatric Therapy." We decided on this article because endoscopic bariatric therapy is a common form of treatment in obesity for those who have trouble losing weight. And it's very effective in helping people lose weight and hopefully maintain and achieve a normal body weight. So the sample was 132 patients with obesity who underwent endoscopic bariatric therapies for weight loss. The study design was a randomized study to examine the effectiveness of the Mediterranean diet versus a protein diet plan in weight loss maintenance after EBT. It compared the Mediterranean diet to the protein diet plan because the protein diet plan is what is normally prescribed to patients following the EBT. So they wanted to see if a different diet could be more effective. The participants were randomly assigned to follow either the Mediterranean diet, which was a 22% protein, 53% carbohydrate, and 25% fat diet, or the protein diet plan, which was 40% protein, 29% carbohydrate, and 31% fat for 6 months following their EBT. The outcome variables they were measuring for were weight loss effectiveness, which was communicated through total weight loss as a percentage, excess weight loss as a percentage, and sustainability of weight loss was measured through weight relapse. And what they were able to find is that those who followed the Mediterranean diet saw an 18.7% reduction in total body weight, with 52 patients completing the entire intervention. And the protein diet plan patients saw only a 13.5% reduction in total body weight, with only 26 patients completing the entire intervention. And this was found to be significant at a p-value of less than 0.001. And it shows that the Mediterranean diet was effective in helping patients lose weight. And now for sustainability of weight loss, the weight relapse in Mediterranean diet patients was on average negative 1.2 kilograms, which shows that they were not only able to lose weight, but they were also able to sustain and continue their weight loss following 3 months after the intervention ended. And the weight relapse in the protein diet patients was on average an addition of 2.4 kilograms, which shows that the protein diet plan was less effective in not only weight loss, but also weight loss sustainability, as there was only 13.5% reduction. And then they actually started gaining weight after the intervention was over. So overall, the Mediterranean diet was much better compared to the protein diet plan for weight loss and weight loss sustainability. One of the strengths of the study is that it was unique in its fact that it examined the effectiveness of the Mediterranean diet following EBT for weight loss sustainability compared to the normal diet. Not many studies have done this, and especially studying the Mediterranean diet as a form of treatment after therapy, after EBT, isn't very common. There are some limitations, though. It was a pretty small sample size. It was a majority women, doesn't account for different races and ethnicities. It was conducted in Australia, so I understand they don't have much diversity, but it's obviously still a very important component if you want something to be really reflective. And more people finish the Mediterranean diet intervention and less in the protein diet plan. So the Mediterranean diet might have skewed some results some, but it's still relevant to the issue of treating obesity because the Mediterranean diet may be easy for some to follow, as it doesn't completely restrict any food groups like many fad diets do. And it has the flexibility to meet different cultural and social aspects of eating for many. Therefore, it's a practical tool to implement for weight loss and weight loss sustainability through a variety of cultures and people, as long as it fits their needs and is the right diet for them. And one way that we can make this study better was to increase the sample size and to make it more reflective of the entire population of those who suffer from obesity. The studies need to be more inclusive with more males, because this one was majority women, but also males are affected by obesity more than women. So it's important that they include more males, at least 50% or more, to be more reflective of the percentage of the population of people that have obesity. And they need to test the effects on different races and ethnicities, as those have genetic, social, and other predispositions that may affect their ability to lose weight and sustain it as well. And I would be interested to see how these patients are doing in a year follow-up from the end of the intervention, just to see how much they've been able to sustain their weight loss, and if they've even lost any more weight or if they've gained weight. Just curious. And so in conclusion, this study suggests that following the Mediterranean diet may be helpful in weight loss and weight loss sustainability following EBT. It is really important that we continue to study these different interventions in order to find effective dietary treatments for people following EBT, as they are trying to achieve weight loss, and different types of intervention styles may help them achieve their goals.
Okay. So I'm going to be doing a quick summary of the presented articles that we just talked about, going over what we previously knew about the Mediterranean diet and how it relates to obesity, what question these articles attempted to answer, and the initial reason for the research being conducted, as well as the findings that the researchers discovered and how that can go on to inform future prevention efforts for obesity, and what future research should target. So let's get started. What was previously known? We knew that, like before these studies were conducted, we knew that obesity or the Mediterranean diet was associated with greater longevity, just in terms of health in general, and that the Mediterranean diet acts as a preventative and therapeutic target for many prevailing non-communicable diseases, one such being obesity. We also knew that this diet was associated with lower body weight, preventing long-term weight gain, and producing significant weight loss. So why did these studies happen? Why were they conducted? And what kind of questions did they attempt to answer? The first study explored the relationship between the Mediterranean diet and weight loss maintenance. So it was kind of going beyond just the initial weight loss, and looking more long term, right? Looking at how people maintain that weight loss, because that's what really matters, is if you can maintain it. So they were attempting to answer the question, is higher adherence to this dietary pattern in the post-dieting period associated with more favorable outcomes for the maintenance of reducing body weight? And the second study investigated something completely different. It looked into the Mediterranean diet on the effectiveness and sustainability of weight loss after EBT, which is a type of bariatric surgery. So they were looking at, will combining this type of surgical intervention with a dietary intervention, will that be more effective in weight loss compared to classical approaches, which were the bariatric surgery combined with some other diet. So they're really narrowing down on this specific subset of the population that of the obese population that undergoes bariatric surgery and then needs a follow-up intervention. So what were the study findings? The first study found that weight loss maintenance was twice as likely among participants with a high adherence to the Mediterranean diet. So this means that these people who followed the diet were twice as likely to maintain that weight over time, which is a very significant finding. The second study found that participants who followed this diet plan were 14.2%, or they lost 14.2% more weight compared to those who followed a protein diet plan. So the protein diet plan is also very common and very well backed in research. So this is a huge finding because it's showing that the Mediterranean diet is just that much more effective compared to other very effective diet plans. They also found that it was associated with sustainable weight loss, and that patients who followed it were pretty much continued to lose weight. Even like 3 months, like I have here, 3 months after the dietary intervention had ended, these patients continued to lose weight. And compared to the standard protein diet, patients who followed that after the dietary intervention had ended actually ended up gaining weight. So moving on to the conclusion, these studies both supported the efficacy of the Mediterranean diet for obesity treatment. The Mediterranean diet was related to the sustainability of weight loss in both studies, and that is a crucial aspect of any weight loss treatment. This type of dietary intervention can be used in the future to help patients with obesity achieve their nutrition goals encourage them to continue losing weight. And this is true even after the nutritional counseling has ended, as was seen in that second study. So both articles suggested pretty similar things. They thought that future research should explore the effects of the adoption of this dietary pattern in the post-dieting period through adequately designed interventions with long-term follow-up periods. So it's pretty much taking that first study and making it more long-term to ensure that the findings were accurate. They also thought that future research should test the level of transferability of these findings to more non-Mediterranean populations. And this was true with the second study. And they also thought that future research should evaluate the impact of the Mediterranean style diet plan on body composition as well as other metabolic markers, since the study is kind of focused on other ways to measure the efficacy, such as just body weight. So here are our references. There's 6 there listed. That's it. Thank you for watching.